Okay.
Welcome to the Franklin County Varsity Sports Report, the only show that provides you with the best insight and information to everything Franklin County sports. And now here's your host, Bobby C.
Hello and welcome to the Franklin County Varsity Sports Report. I'm Bobby C. Want to welcome you here today. Just want to say that, boy, we have an exciting show for you. We're going to run down the final stats of the basketball season. And yes, great news happened over the weekend with the Greenfield High School hockey team. And we're going to talk about that on our show this week. Once again, I want to say a big thank you to Philippe Simone for the wonderful interview we had last week to really go over how important it is for people to get involved in our community television right here in Greenfield. So I want to thank Philippe for the opportunity to be able to do the interview with us. It really was very helpful and very informative. Want to say a big welcome to John Meisner and Philippe Simone, our producers here today. We also want to say a big thank you to the underwriters that are here as well. We have the Four Leaf Clover Restaurant in Berniston, Denny's Pantry, Berniston Road in Greenfield, and by Lisa Albert of Albert Hearing Services, 33 Riddell Street in Greenfield. All right, let's get the show started for you here today. It's our final update of the winter season. Wow, spring sports is just around the corner. Well, it was a wonderful milestone for Anthony Peterson. He took on the number 10-seeded Franklin County Tech School in the Division IV tournament game that he ended up playing in, where his team won 65-52 in the first round of the Division IV basketball tournament. The other thing that was great is Anthony Peterson also got 1,000 career points. 1,000 career points for Anthony Peterson. It was wonderful, and what a run he had. You know, he was really he was 19 points off of getting 1,000 in that game, and he ended up with more. He had a solid game, and not only did he get his 1,000 points, but hey, how can you go wrong when you pick up 21 points in one game in front of the home crowd against the rival right across town against the Franklin County Tech School? It sort of all worked out perfect for Anthony Peterson. Well, with that win, they ended up having to take on the number 2 team in the conference, which is Drury High School, and we'll get to that in just a moment. But what we want to do is we want to congratulate Anthony. We also want to say congratulations to the Franklin County Tech School. They ended up having a huge scorer in Garrett Cole, who had a wonderful season. They got guys that'll be coming back that are going to be able to make an impact and make a difference with that team, including Justin Littlewood. He'll be back. And they also have a nice cast of guys that are going to be able to help that program under Coach Tim Artis. Of course, Mully is very happy because he's got guys that are all going to be coming back to make a difference. They are losing a couple of seniors. I will tell you that they will be losing Anthony Peterson. They're also going to lose Jaden Whiting. They are gone to graduation, but they'll still have Marcus Sanders. They'll still have Chase Novak. You know, the Driscoll boys, they still got things that are going to be good for them. So very excited for the Turners Falls Thunder. And once again, congratulations to Anthony Peterson on picking up 1,000 career points. He did it during the playoff game against the Franklin County Tech. Well, Frontier, they ended up taking on Athol in that first round of the tournament. And I will tell you that Frontier pulled away and knocked off the number 14 seeded team. Final score was pretty close too, I will tell you, at the beginning. And then all of a sudden, they just ran away with it. And they ended up winning big by 20. So congratulations. It was 62-42. They end up winning. And then they ended up advancing to take on Monument Mountain. That was a game that was going to be a tough one for them. And of course, it was going to be right there in South Deerfield at Goodnow Gymnasium. We'll tell you that Peter Carey ended up with 13 points. Donovan Hoffman had a nice night too, and they ended up with that win. And of course, they are going to take on Monument Mountain. We'll get to that game in just a bit. Well, in the D3 boys tournament, it was Greenfield. You know, the sad thing is they were winning against Mount Greylock at halftime. They had a 15-point halftime lead. They ended up losing the game by 11. A 26-point swing in their loss to Mount Greylock. That was a tough loss for the Green Wave at home in front of the home crowd. And I'll tell you right now, there was a lot of folks that really couldn't believe what was happening when the turnovers just became very heavy. And with that said, the Green Wave ended up ending their season. Tell you, the guy who ended up having a great year for them was David Carey. He had a solid year. Mason Meadows ended up with 13 points, and Mav Ward ended up with 11. You know, those three guys ended up carrying the team this year with Carey, Meadows, and Ward. And I will tell you that they all three of them will all be back in a Greenfield uniform next season. So that is a very good sign right there for the Green Wave. Big congratulations goes out to Erica Lumen. She ended up finishing 8th in the MIAA Nordic Ski Championships. That's right. They ended up with the Nordic Ski Championship that happened. She ended up in 8th place. Think about this. 123 people participated. She ended up at number 8. Congratulations to Erica Lumen. Well, the Frontier girls, they ended up having a tough game. I will tell you, they had to take on the very tough Wacona girls, and that game was up there on the mountain in Dalton, and it ended up being a tough loss for them. They only scored 23 points. Final was 50-23. I will tell you something, that team is very good, and they ended up winning. No problem at all. But I'm going to tell you right now, they have some girls that can play. They have Amelia Sobieski, who will be coming back. You know, you also have Caitlin Mackin. You also have Marie Demon. Marie has graduated, so she will be done. But I will tell you that they do have some talent over there in South Deerfield that will return in girls basketball for the 2021 season. Well, Azamina Sesajanan, just remember that name here, folks, because she has become a nice little rising star for the Pioneer girls basketball team. You know, she started off a little on the slow start at the beginning of the season, but boy, she really started to pour it on at the end of the year, and the freshman has really started to make a name for herself here in the area. You know, her and her sister Alina are very talented basketball players. Azamina definitely has great ball skills. Of course, she's been able to play with people like Paige Loftman and also with Steph Scoville, but boy, the run that they had was very impressive. You know, they ended up winning their final 3 games so they could get into the tournament. Then the Pioneer girls had an opportunity to be able to take on McCann Tech in that first round, and then they had to take on Ware, which is one of the top teams in the area, and they barely lost to them. They only lost 40-37. Telling you right now, turned out to be an opportunity for upset city and their first coach, Mike Churchill. So a very, very impressive season, especially at the end for the Pioneer girls after a very rough start. You know, you had a new coach, you had a new system, you had girls that are just starting to play together that didn't play before. Now all of a sudden, by the end of the year, they all started to figure each other out, and it worked out well to benefit the Pioneer girls. A very nice season for them. Want to say goodbye to Steph Scoville. She is done. She is the lone senior that is going to be leaving that team. That's right, folks. The Pioneer girls, they return every single player except for
Welcome
Steph Scoville.
to the Franklin County
very,
Varsity
very
Sports
impressive.
Report, the only show that...
Also, we want to let you know that the Greenfield girls ended up taking on Sabas. It turned out to be our game of the week, and it turned out to be a very tough night for the Greenfield girls. Them and Katie Hazelton really had a hard time. Matter of fact, you got to give credit where credit's due, because Katie Hazelton ended up getting neutralized by the ladies from Sabas. They did a really good job on defending her, making other people on the team be able to defend. And I will say, when all was said and done, Sabas ended up picking up the upset win over Greenfield. That game was at Nichols Gymnasium, and that's where Sabas had the opportunity to go to the cage. It would have been the 3rd year in a row that Greenfield would have been to the cage if they were able to pull off the victory. I will tell you, though, they got one senior that'll be gone. That's part of their big nucleus of really good players. Honestly, there's two players that are really good. You had Christina Reed and you had Bree Rivera, okay? Those 2 girls did an awesome job for them. I will tell you, though, the rest of the cast is all back. You have Katie Hazelton. You have Raquel Provost. you have Amber Bergeron. You're also going to be able to have Lily Kackelmeyer. They're going to be okay, trust me. Greenfield girls, they're back on the rise, and they will be fine next season. Coach Hickey said that he was very impressed with what the team did this year. Well, the boys basketball team from Frontier, can you imagine getting yourself in a hole by 26 points against Monument Mountain at home? That's right. So if you ended up leaving the game early knowing that the game was completely over, well, guess what? They ended up making a run like no other. They literally had an opportunity to come back in this one. They only lost 67-59. They literally made up, and this is impressive, 18 points in one quarter. That's right. They were down big in the second half, came all the way back and almost, and I mean almost, knocked off a team, and they would have had to do it by literally gaining that 26 points to get into OT or score 27 for the win. They just came up short. Coach Barshevsky said it best. They didn't give up. You're down in the hole. You could have laid down in front of the home crowd. You didn't. You stuck with it. That shows a lot about your team. And I'll tell you right now, they have lost a lot of guys that are going to be going to graduation, but they do have some good, talented guys that are going to be able to come back and help their team. By the way, their JV program had a decent season as well. So there are some rising guys that'll be coming up to be able to play for Coach Barshevsky. They'll be able to enjoy a wonderful experience under him at Frontier Regional. But unfortunately, Frontier did get beat by Monument Mountain and ended their season. Well, the Turners Falls boys had to take on Drury. They were huge underdogs in this one, but I'm going to tell you right now, they were only down by 1 point at halftime. That's right, 30-29. That was the score at halftime. When all was said and done, they only lost 66-57. They lost by 9 against a very good Drury team. So a big congratulations goes out to the Thunder. Great run at the end of the year. They really started to pour things on. They picked up that win against the Franklin County Tech School. Anthony Peterson was able to get his 1,000 points, and they were able to go up to the Berkshires in a very hostile environment and be able to give the Drury Blue Devils a nice run, and that's exactly what they did. So congratulations to them. Anthony Peterson is now gone. All those years playing for Turners Falls, we say goodbye to Anthony. A couple of the big stars will be back, though. Yes, they will have Chase Novak. They will have Marcus Sanders. They will be fine. Well, I want to let you know that John Mahoney of Mahar Regional ended up, yes, winning the MIAA All-State Tournament. Wanted to give this kid some credit because it's very hard to be able to do that in the state tournament because there are so many really talented wrestlers throughout the state of Massachusetts. Matter of fact, Franklin County Tech's Kyle Burnell, he ended up having a very successful run as well. Also, Peter Saladino, he did very well too. Congratulations to those guys from the Franklin County Tech School. Well, when all was said and done in our basketball tournament, unfortunately, every single team ended up losing. So we lost every Franklin County team, and we lost every team in Hampshire County that didn't get a chance to go to Championship Saturday. This is the first time in like 20 years that not one person, not one team from Franklin or Hampshire County made it to Championship Saturday at the Cage. So it was a very sad year for us not to see a bunch of our teams have an opportunity to play for Western Mass Championships. But I will tell you this, the Hopkins boys gave it a run. They ended up getting beat by Drury. It was a very tough game right there in Division 4. And also the Hampshire girls, they ended up losing in Division 3, so they were knocked out as well. Those were two teams that are down in Hampshire County. Well, there was a team that was hot. And that's funny because you don't want to say hot when you're talking ice hockey because you'll melt it into water. But this team right here, They brought tears to people's eyes, but it was tears of joy. And it was the tears of joy that they got to have as well, because this group of men were able to win a Western Mass championship in Division 3A. They also went to the 3A championship for the state as well this past weekend. Well, let's talk about the hockey team. Well, they headed into their first Division A final since the year 2008. So you're going back 12 years, last time they were able to be there. I'll tell you right now, they ended up with a 3-2 victory over South Hadley in their semifinal game down at the Olympia to sort of kick things off, a game that they needed to win to be able to go to a championship. Well, they did everything that they needed to do that, and then they took on a very good, and I will say this again, a very good Wauconah team. Talented. They were the team that ended up knocking this team off earlier in the year. But guess what? When all was said and done, it turned out to be a very special day on Championship Saturday as the Green Wave picked up their victory over Wauconah. With that Western Mass victory, they had a chance to play for a championship. And the championship that they had a chance to play was going to be against Lunenburg, a team that started off really slow this year, but knocked off the best teams in Central Mass to be able to get to the state championship against Greenfield. Well, Greenfield scored first. All of a sudden, Derek Lanois ends up getting the Wave up 1-0. Then all of a sudden, Lunenburg comes back. They score 2, and now the Wave is in the hole 2-1. Well, it worked out okay for the Wave. As they came back, they were able to tie the game, and at the end of 2 periods, it was 2-2. Well then, with literally 1 minute and 25 seconds left in the game, their star, Brian Bauman, ends up scoring the game winner, and the GHS hockey team walked away with their first ever state championship. Yeah, baby! Woo! That was beautiful. And I'm going to tell you what, there was a lot of good things that came out of this. First of all, we want you to know a little bit about GHS hockey if you don't know about them. They are a co-op of all the local schools here in Franklin County. That's right. They have a co-op program because of the fact they don't have enough kids to be able to just have a team from Greenfield. So with that said, they've had kids from Frontier. They had kids from Athol. They had kids from Mahar, kids from Pioneer. They had kids from the good old tech school. Yes, kids from all over all got to play under the thumb of GHS hockey. And the cool thing is that Coach Bouchard did an amazing job with his staff to be able to get these guys to where they needed to be. You know, the other thing that's pretty cool, all these kids have known each other forever. How? Because the Franklin County Hockey Association has been around for a very long time. And the cool thing is it was started by the guy who announced the game, Chris Collins' parents, Ralph and Patsy Collins. And the reason why it's called the Collins Moylan Arena is to honor the Collins family and also the Moylans for what they were able to do to be able to bring a very great hockey opportunity to our community. Well, Chris Collins, who has been a hockey guy his whole life, had a chance to be able to broadcast that game. He did it on Bear Country 95.3. He also is the guy who runs the FCAT Frontier Community Television. They were able to be on hand as well. And Chris and Todd Howe, a former GHS hockey player, had a chance to do the game. And it was so exciting. And you know, there's a story behind this that I'm going to share in just a moment that was something special that happened between Chris and his opportunity of being involved in this game. But before I get to Chris, I just want to say that Coach Bouchard, Coach Corey Lovett, Coach Tim Petrin, Big Lou Bordeaux, Mike Duclos. I mean, these guys, they did an amazing job. Jamie Coffin, awesome job, gentlemen, on being able to have these guys ready, because they were ready. And if you looked at the way that those kids skated, they skated hard in both of those championships. Brian Bauman, what a special player he is. He is the leader to sort of fire things up. But then you got guys that also can make it happen. Sean O'Sullivan and also Mike McGoldrick. How about some of the kids who really stepped up and made a difference? Savoy, Derek Lanois. You know, you look at those guys, Aiden Roach. All these kids that were able to step up and make it big moments that they were able to take part in these games to be able to bring home the first ever championship trophy to Greenfield High School in hockey. Just absolutely amazing. The nice thing is that we're going to be able to get some of these players and the coaches to come up and visit us. They'll do it right here on our set, and we'll be able to talk with them about their banner season. The other thing is I want to talk about Chris Collins. You know, Chris Collins is also a board member here at Greenfield Community Television and always cares about our community. And this is exactly what he had to say about this experience of doing the games over there in Holy Cross in Worcester on Saturday, and of course down at the Olympia in Springfield earlier in the week. He said, quote, "Broadcasting this first ever state title means a lot to me. My father, Ralph Collins, coached the program. The rink is named after him. And the nice thing is I was able to broadcast this first state title in team history. It was very emotional. It was a very emotional moment for me. You know, I was just feeling the emotions that were going through the minds of those kids and the coaches. The minds that I was feeling in my mind was the emotion for my dad, knowing that my dad is looking down and seeing how much the program has grown, how much the Franklin County Hockey Association has grown to be able to bring these great athletes out. Collins and Howe, you know, they are a good combination. They really are. And personally, folks, I will say it straight up, Chris has been a friend of mine for a long time. I got him involved in broadcasting in 1986. We've been friends through high school, and I couldn't be more proud of him and what he did with the play-by-play work. It was absolutely amazing. He is a true testament of someone who cares about community and just wanted to deliver the best product possible to be able to give the kids, the community, and the fans the excitement during those broadcasts. And that's exactly what he did. And what about the great insight as a color guy for Todd Howe? Todd did an amazing job. Gets right to the point, lays it down. It's a very fast-paced game. When you talk about hockey, hockey is quick. So you don't have a lot of time to be able to you have to get it out quick on what you want to talk about because the game moves so fast. And Todd and Chris, the combination of them was amazing. I just so much enjoyed being able to watch the games, and I was so much enjoying the broadcast that those two guys were able to deliver. And the cool thing is what about down the road when all these players, knowing that the game is on YouTube forever, you know what? When these guys all retire, have grandkids someday, you can sit down and say, guess what? Grandpa was on the first ever state championship team in Greenfield High School history. In hockey, here's the game. And they're going to listen to the great call by Chris Collins, whose father is literally looking down and watching how proud his son was, giving it his all, knowing his dad's name is on that rink in Greenfield. It almost brings tears to my eyes. It really does, because I know how much he misses his father. I know how much his father and his mother cared about this community and the hockey rink itself. They grew up right across the street from the rink, so they didn't have far to go. They spent a lot of hours there. And for this guy to be able to do the championship games for Western Mass and the state championship and get it done the way Chris did, and the great work that he had with his broadcast partner, Todd Howe, is a testament to how lucky we are in our community to have very talented announcers in a very small place right here in Western Mass. And congratulations to not only the boys, but to those two gentlemen who did an amazing job on the mics. Well, we here at the Franklin County Varsity Sports Report, we like to honor certain people. This year, I decided that I really wanted to do something with basketball, and I want to tell you why. As you know, we talked about it earlier, none of our local teams made it to Championship Saturday. But not many of our teams even made it to the cage. But I will say this, we have a lot of young, rising talent that is in our community. So we'll be there, and we'll be there representing very well in the next year or two. Thing is sometimes you have what they call a down year. And it's just because kids are still developing, kids are still learning to work together as a team. So what I decided to do was put together our first ever, it's our first annual, because we're gonna hopefully do this every year, our first annual Franklin County Varsity Sports Report Basketball All-Star Game. Now, as we tape this, we will be doing the game that night, but I wanted to recognize the All-Stars, and I want to give you a little insight of what the festivities of the night will entail. Games will be at 5:45 for the girls, 7:15 for the boys. Here are the girls' teams. We have Team Terrell, named after Jeff Terrell. Tell you right now, Jeff Terrell, amazing broadcaster for Bear Country 95.3, has given a lot back to this community. And Jeffrey, we wanted to name it in your honor under Team Terrell. And here are the All-Stars that were selected under Team Terrell. Here we go. Team Terrell for the girls include Paige Loftman, Pioneer Valley Regional, Steph Scoville, Pioneer Valley Regional, Azamina Sesajanan, Pioneer Valley Regional. For the Franklin County Tech girls, representing them, Isabel Duga, Jocelyn Crowningshield, and Jordan Hurlbert. For the Mohawk girls, you have Grace Ward, Grace Poplowski, and Stella Clark. Those are the girls that will be playing for Team Terrell. Now, for Team Bobby C, team that will be playing under my thumb. That could be scary. We have, for Greenfield High School, Katie Hazelton, Brianna Rivera, and Raquel Provost. For Turner's Falls, we have Kendra Campbell, we have Taylor Green, and we have Steph Peterson. And for Frontier girls, we have Caitlin Mackin, Amelia Sobieski, and Marie Diamond. Those are the 18 girls that'll be playing in this All-Star game, Team Bobby C and Team Terrell. Now, for the boys, Team Terrell. For the Franklin County Tech, we have Justin Littlewood, Bailey Young, and Garrett Cole. For Frontier, we have Donovan Hoffman. We also have Colin Boudreau and Brett Robinson. For Mohawk, we have Tyler Dubriel, Ruben Bassett, and Anthony Moffitt. Team Bobby C for the boys, we have for Greenfield, Mason Meadows, Mav Ward, and David Carey. For Pioneer, we have Troy Emond, Jared Hubbard, and Jaden Fox. And also for Team Bobby C for the boys, we have the Turner's boys, which is Chase Novak, Anthony Peterson, and Marcus Sanders. Those are the 18 guys that'll be playing in the All-Star game. As we record this, it'll be later tonight. I want to let you know that we are doing this as a way to say thank you to these younger players. Believe it or not, we only have a third of all 36 players that are seniors or less. I think there's 7 seniors. That means there's 29 underclassmen that are playing in this basketball little showcase game that we're having tonight. These are future players that are going to be sticking around and playing basketball in our community. And it's going to be a lot of fun, and I'm looking forward to a great experience. My producer of the show, John Meisner, he'll be our PA announcer for the night. We were able to get the Franklin County Tech School to be able to host it. Thank you to Joe Gamache for that opportunity. We were able to get shirts for all of the kids. Want to thank Julie Dubriel for doing the legwork on that. Also, we were lucky enough to have one of the parents from the Franklin County Tech School, Andrea Crowningshield, to help out with the gate for us. We were able to get CJ Artis, an ex-alumni from Pioneer Valley Regional, also was a basketball star in his day, as one of our referees. We'll also get some help from Ben Johnson, good old Coach Ben, helping us out with coaching duties tonight. In for Jeff Terrell, who wasn't able to make it, but we still wanted to be able to honor his name under Team Terrell. So really cool. At the end of the day, we're doing something a lot of fun for the kids. And I just want to say that this is really nice that we were able to get a lot of support and a lot of people involved to be able to make this all happen. It is our first annual Franklin County Varsity Sports Report All-Star Games, the girls and the boys. And we'll be able to give you the full details on how this went on our show next week. One more piece of business, and then we say goodbye because, you know, that's how it rolls. You don't have a lot. It's our final show of the winter season. But I want to let you know that the Board of Officials have their Hampshire Franklin Basketball All-Star Game, which you'll be able to see this show in time to make it a part of your week of weekend fun. On Friday night, they are putting together the 23rd annual All-Star Game. They're going to be doing it Friday night at Smith Academy. Now, the girls' game starts at 6 o'clock Friday night. Boys' game will follow at 7:30. This is for seniors only. This is for seniors only. $5 for the admission for adults, $3 for the kids. Yes, I want to let you know that seniors, all active reserve military with a valid ID, well, you get to get in for free. How sweet is that? That's pretty cool. All proceeds will benefit the William F. Casey Scholarship Award. They have given away over $90,000 in scholarships to our area players, and they will raise money on the showcase game Friday night at Smith Academy. The IAABO Board 28 will also be honoring that night the Franklin County Tech girls team and the Hopkins boys team. They will receive the Jack Lehman Sportsmanship Award that night, which is going to be pretty great to see. Local athletes that'll be on the East Boys All-Star team include, from Athol High School, Bryce King and Mark Ferreira. For the Franklin County Tech School, Garrett Cole and Bailey Young. For Mahar, Charlie Barnes and Jack Notre. Also, for Turners, Anthony Peterson, Jaden Whiting. Frontier will, the coach of that team will be Dan Bevis, who is the current coach of Athol High School. He will coach that. The West team for the boys. From Frontier, Colin Boudreau and Brett Robinson. Greenfield, Julius Brewington, Mohawk, Anthony Moffitt, and Darren Schmidt, the head coach of Mohawk, he will run that squad. For the girls, the East roster for the senior game on Friday night. For Athol, Haley Bigwood and Taylor Cleveland. Franklin County Tech School, Jocelyn Crowningshield and Jordan Hurlbert. For Mahar, Mary Prescott. For Turner's Falls, Haley Bogus. The coach of that night will be Franklin County Tech head coach Joe Gamache. Local athletes on the West, for Frontier, Marie Diamond. For Greenfield, Christina Reed and Brianna Rivera. Mohawk, Grace Poplowski. And Pioneer, Steph Scoville. So there you go. Those are the senior all-stars for the special all-star game that'll be held Friday night. It is the special showcase to raise money for the Casey Scholarship Award. Once again, they gave away $90,000 so far, and they're looking to see everybody there to support the cause, done by the local Board of Officials 28. And I will be there, looking forward to be a part of that environment on Friday night. As we say goodbye, I do want to recognize the seniors of the hockey team that are going to be done. Their year is over at GHS. Want to say goodbye to Adam Savoy, Mike McGoldrick, Brian Bauman, Bowie Harris, Matthew Willite, Nick French, Cam Rice, Porter Clancy, Sean O'Sullivan, Trevor Boudette, and Riley Drew. Speaking of Riley Drew, he was one of the main reasons why Greenfield ended up winning a state championship. What that guy did this year in between the pipes was pretty special. He kept his team in many, many games. He also is a true star of Green Wave hockey. As we say goodbye for another week and we finish up our winter sports season, we start getting ready for the spring sports season. But next week, we're going to have a cool group of ladies that are going to be here. It's the cheerleading squad of the Turner's Falls cheerleaders. Yes, the Lady Thunder cheerleaders ended up getting involved in 3 local tournaments, and they did very well. We're going to sit down with those ladies. We'll also talk with their coach, Coach Underwood, and we'll talk about the great year those ladies had. And once again, a championship for GHS Hockey, Western Mass, and, oh yes, and their first ever state title. For John Meisner, Philippe Simone, I'm Bobby C. For the 4-Leaf Clover Restaurant in Berniston, Denny's Pantry, Berniston Road in Greenfield, and Lisa Albert of Albert Hearing Services, 33 Riddell Street in Greenfield, thank you so much for tuning in to the Franklin County Varsity Sports Report. And remember, get out and support your local athletes.
Thanks for watching the Franklin County Varsity Sports Report on GCTV. Catch a game and be sure to join us next time for more sports and fun.